Activate.
It won't be the final.
All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to This Pink Cloud. We are a show that is about multiple pathways to recovery, mental health, all that kind of good stuff. I am DJ Kelly Reverb. There we go. That was pretty on time.
Chill, dude.
That was pretty on time, yo. So, as always, sitting in the disgruntled Chad Lamons, everybody.
Hey. I mean, hold on. Let me edit the name tag while I'm on
you're
the
on
name
air.
tag.
Nice.
And it is now
Shafe Lamons.
Chade.
Chade.
Chade. There we go. You guys saw a full-time edit right there.
That
in
was
real
live.
time.
That was very exciting.
That was live.
Where are
and
your
exciting.
glasses, dude?
Well, you see, I left them in the car because
I was watching a videotape.
I had to watch a videotape before I got here. He made me watch a videotape
normally,
at knife point before I got here.
Right. Normally, Chad has got the spectacular eyewear on that is Jeffrey Dahmer-esque. So,
say
but
what
anyway.
you will about the guy. Yeah, he did a couple bad things or whatever, but that dude knew his taste in eyewear.
There we go.
I might not align with his cannibalistic beliefs.
Him and John Denver had some solid eyewear, too.
Yeah, my favorite thing about John Denver is
Oh,
when
yeah.
they mentioned him in Dumb and Dumber, and they're like, man, John Denver's full of shit, man.
I don't remember that. I'll have to
don't
go
either.
back.
Yeah.
I'll have to go back and watch it. Hey, but excited to have my good friend here. She is in recovery long term. I would almost consider her an old timer, but that indicates age, so we won't say that. But she has been in long term recovery. She's also into Reiki and also stem cell. So would you say research?
Therapy, research. Yeah, either
there
way.
we go. Okay. But everybody give it up for my good friend, Amy Gabrielson. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. I'm glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Well, we're excited to have you on. I mean, it's been a long time. You were actually on when we were in the old studio.
Yes.
And now you're in the new studio.
It's good. I like it.
The new studio, which is the old studio now to us.
Yeah.
Because you've been here a minute.
Yeah, we've been here a minute.
And it also doesn't have a watermark at the bottom of each fucking episode like theirs did.
Oh, did it?
Yeah.
Nice.
Adventure X. It was like, God damn, dude.
They had to. It's called branding.
Yeah. I
They
mean, it
gotta
was
do that.
something.
But so I'm excited to have you on. Obviously, you're in recovery, so we want to acclimate the people because you've got a pretty fascinating backstory.
Yeah.
So
Hey.
hit it.
Hit it. Well, I grew up in, Texas, Richardson from 10 on. I was in
Berkner?
Illinois. Yeah, I went to Berkner.
Yeah.
Something was in the water there.
Right.
A lot of people in recovery. So yeah, I mean, I was your typical teenager wanting to run around and be with people who I thought were cool, drinking and using, and
Right.
drugs were easier to get when I was a kid.
Right.
Because what we would do is give like the guy on the corner the money to buy the alcohol, and then he would run.
Right.
And we were like, well, this sucks. Well, for some reason, the drug dealers were way more. They gave us the drugs, right?
Right.
So I grew up doing the street drugs that didn't kill you, acid and ecstasy, and that's what we called
Right.
it.
Back when
Back
they
when
were
it was
actually real. Yeah. I was
Yeah,
going to say.
real stuff.
Back before you could technically die from it, you
Yeah.
were like rolling the dice.
Yeah, totally. And just loved that atmosphere. Just started off just kind of, being a kid, dumb and running around with the same like-minded dumb kids and, just really in and out of different, social groups that were all kind of doing the same thing,
Right.
But I kept ended up graduating from high school. My dad, I wanted to quit school because I was a dyslexic kid.
Oh, okay.
So I wanted to quit school so bad. My dad was like, just stay. He goes, I'll sign all your failing notices.
Just write,
Yeah, just
write it
stay.
out. Well, that's cool,
Yeah.
though. I mean,
Yeah. He goes, stay to learn how to get along with people.
Yeah, there you go for the social aspect,
And
right?
He goes,
yeah.
and he goes, not just the ones that you like, get along with the ones you don't like.
I like that.
No, no. So I stayed in
good,
school.
That is good advice for somebody that's not the strongest student.
Right.
Yeah.
And I kind of turned into a C non-failing student after he gave me permission to fail.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. He said, you won't get in trouble. No problem.
Right.
I was like, okay. So
that's sweet, dude.
Yeah, so
that is a free pass to be a half-ass.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. I was failing before that, just skipping a lot of school, whatever.
Sure.
So I ended up moving to Minneapolis, Minnesota and going to hair school there.
Okay.
In 1989. And I was blaming my friends for the stuff I was doing.
Right. Any reason for Minneapolis, Minnesota?
Yeah, because my aunt and uncle were there, my cousins were all there, and my grandmother
so you had
was
family.
There.
Family,
Yep.
I got you.
And so when I went up there, my grandmother bought me a ticket after graduating from high school.
Okay.
And so I went up there and they said, what are you going to do now? And I said, I'm going to go to hair school.
Right.
And, I was always one of those people that, like, if I said it, I was going to do it. Mm-hmm. So, I was going to go to hair school, and my dad didn't want me to go to hair school. He wanted me to go to regular, whatever, even just a 2-year degree college or something like that. Because he was
vocation.
Like,
vocational school, right.
And, but I went up there, and it was the only Aveda Institute at the time. It was called Horst and Friends, and I went there. And my dad saw the school, and he fell in love with it because they were teaching you about holistic stuff and nutrition and how to heal yourself from the inside.
Right.
That's that started my career path, which is fun, really cool where I am now.
Yeah.
Because I got into hair and, health and beauty for the first word.
I have a question.
Right.
Though. How much did glamour shots influence you to get into the hair dressing game?
None. I remember Richardson Square Mall having a glamour shots, and I was like freaked out by that place, so I never did it. But
JCPenney everywhere had
and
them.
I worked at Olin Mills.
Do you remember that you could smoke in the mall?
Oh yeah, because that's when I got caught.
No, I would go to we would go to the pipe and pouch there and get the clove cigarettes.
Yes, I loved cloves. That's how I started. That was my gateway to cigarettes, was cloves, because cloves tasted good. It was like that little cinnamon or whatever it was on the end. Maybe it was clove. What?
Yeah, it's just clove.
Yeah, right.
So, as a kid, I didn't realize it was clove. I thought it was cinnamon.
Right.
But I remember
these are little cinnamon cigarettes.
I remember smoking in Richardson Square Mall, and my parents walked up, and I put it behind my back, and so the smoke's probably coming up, and my dad's standing behind my mom, and he's laughing because he saw me do it.
He knows what's up.
And finally, I was like, "Mom," and she goes, "Oh, we smoked around your whole life. How are we supposed to be mad at you now?"
I smoked while you were in utero.
Exactly. This is the 70s and 80s.
Right.
I smoked everywhere. So grateful. I haven't had a cigarette since January of 2000.
Oh, wow.
Awesome. Yeah.
Nice.
So 20, whatever. What are we in? 24 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great.
I really didn't want to smoke in this millennium. I was trying to quit in 1999.
Right.
But I had one more go at it in January of 2020 or 20, whatever.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
That was it.
Yeah. I got it. And we've got to talk about that because I probably need to quit that at some point. I'm still doing that. Chad actually thinks he has quit by switching to vaping.
Well, so here's the thing,
Kind
though.
of.
I was hitting my vape like religiously and smoking a full pack of Newports every day.
Right.
And now I'm just hitting a vape.
Good.
Right.
You know what I
Much
mean?
more
And
economical.
You're down
I don't
stepping.
have I'm not doing like the dip and everything. Dude, I was doing it. Like, I was loaded up. You know what I mean?
I have quit a lot of things. Like I quit, obviously alcohol, cocaine, marijuana,
Right.
and nicotine.
Oh, well, and then you had issues with food as well, right?
Binge eating disorder.
Yeah.
Yes, I've had it all.
Yeah.
I qualify for many 12-step programs and have been involved with many and love them,
Right.
support them. But nicotine was probably the hardest.
Really?
I'm still on caffeine. I don't know if I'll ever give up caffeine.
Why would you though?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I don't know. I will say that the product we'll end up talking about later down the line has helped me with energy. So I really only drink 1 cup of coffee in the morning now. I pretty much stay like this. Like,
Sure, you're even keel.
gear.
Yeah, 6th gear. Overdrive.
Yeah, 8 o'clock
Nice.
at night. I can do meetings for people and be like excited.
Right?
Yeah.
I like
That's
it.
cool.
I like
Yeah.
it.
So
Well,
I ended
yeah.
up in hair school and surrounded myself with people that were still like me.
Well, people in the hair industry, in that industry, that they are, they have that proclivity to be party people.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of my future ex-wives in the hair industry currently.
Yeah.
Love
For
it.
sure.
Yeah. Hairdressers are fun.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, for
hairdressers
sure.
are fun. But I had a lot of judgment. I was working in hair salons and they were doing certain things in the bathroom and I was doing those certain things at the club. later that night, but I was judging them. And I would, I was one of those people using and drinking, and I would tiptoe in late a lot, and they'd start giving you that look, right?
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, I'm about to get fired. And then I would quit.
Right.
Because if I quit before you fire me, then I quit. There was something wrong with you.
Right.
And then I would throw down like, oh, they're using Coke in the bathroom. They should be doing that at night.
Sure.
Not during the day. Like, I don't use my, Coke during the day. I do it at night.
Right.
When
that's funny. And you're in judgment of them the
totally.
whole. Yeah.
Totally judging them.
You're using your Coke at the wrong time.
Right. Exactly.
I'm out.
Right. Exactly. But I was about to get fired because I couldn't get my butt up.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Partying all night.
Right.
All my friends were DJs in my 20s.
Yeah.
I mean,
Hell
and
yeah.
I could get in free everywhere. And,
Oh, yeah.
And it was fun, and I loved it. That was
Yeah.
the life I wanted. I didn't really want the salon life. I wanted the club life.
Sure.
And that was back when everybody was actually like DJs, not just like they bought like a controller.
Yeah.
during COVID.
When you actually
vinyl.
had, when you actually had to have a skill of matching beats.
Yeah,
Yes.
and like it's not like DJs today where like all you have to do is watch some YouTube videos and stuff. Like these were,
No.
if all your friends were DJs, man, that's wild.
Yeah.
To have
Most
that
of them
many-
were.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I grew up with like all of them.
Yeah.
because now everybody's a DJ.
You married one of them.
I did.
Yeah.
I married Jeff Shore. We're still
Yeah.
really good friends.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Luke Sardello is one of my good friends.
Luke Sardello is one of the owners of Josie Records.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Tim Shoemaker was one of my really
Right.
good friends.
Nice.
Keith Pillars is one of my good friends.
Chocolate P, dude.
Yeah.
Shout out.
Right. I mean,
I still talk to him.
Yeah.
I still talk to him. so-
awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And Warwick.
Yeah.
And Luke.
Mark.
Yeah.
And Luke. Yeah. I
All
know.
the whole crew.
I know.
Bill's crew.
That was my Bill's crew.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you were there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I grew up with all those guys. And so I thought it was just having fun until it wasn't fun anymore.
Right.
Till, it was like 20, I was about 27 years old. I was married, and we were at a rave on a Tuesday.
Yeah.
And I'm looking out,
yeah.
and everybody around me is like 14,
Yeah.
and I'm 27. And
Yeah.
I'm like, what's going on? I'm having this moment of clarity, right? And I'm like, what's going on? I'm just sad. We're waiting for a Coke dealer.
Right.
I'm like, what are we doing?
Right.
My friend, my ex walks up to me and goes, you'll feel better once we score.
Right.
And I'm like, yeah, we never score. We follow these guys home to Arlington. We snort their Coke, and then we leave. And I'm like, we
Right.
don't even know these guys. Like, this is so depressing to me. Like, I don't know what's going on anymore.
Right.
And it was really a blessing that he left me because I got sober. So the rug got ripped out from underneath me.
Right.
I didn't want to go cry in my beer in front of all my friends at the club. And I that night that he left, I went and put myself in it wasn't a walk-in closet. It was a closet with clothing on top of my head. I shut the door behind me, got on my knees, and screamed, God help me.
Oh, okay.
And
Well, at this time, was it how high or how far had it escalated as far as like
how high were you?
yeah.
how high were you? Yeah, no, but I
yeah.
mean, as far as the drinking and
You know where it ended me up? It ended up like where you would drink yourself sober. And
Yeah.
and the Coke, it was like I did Coke and marijuana and alcohol, probably 33, 33, 33. And whenever I didn't have one or the other seemed really out of control.
Yeah.
But I just felt numb and sober, even after a night of doing all those things.
Right.
And then maybe try and take some Valium in the morning, try to come down like
Sure.
at 7 o'clock in the morning. And nothing was going to work again.
Right.
And I was sitting I was sitting with Misty Fallis, and we were at Art Bar, and she was buying me beers.
Okay.
And I'm looking at the beers, and I'm saying to her, this was probably 30 minutes after I did that scream in that closet. And I looked at the beer, and I go, this isn't going to work anymore. And she goes, what do you mean? Like me and you being friends? Like you're not going to be friends? I go, no, the beer isn't going to work anymore.
Right.
Like I knew it.
So
I was
that's when I started the vodka.
Seriously. I did do that at one point. I used to drive drunk, obviously.
right.
And I would crawl through the door, and I'd be laughing, and Jeff Shore would be so mad at me.
Right.
And he would be like, why are you driving drunk again?
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, it's the vodka.
Right.
So I just need to go to beer.
Right.
Yeah. And I did that. 2 years probably before I got sober, I was like, no, it's really vodka.
Right.
And I had myself convinced, just like a couple of recovery books talk about, I had myself totally convinced that
Right.
switching the beer to wine to vodka,
Right.
two joints, 2 lines, 2 beers. That's a good sober day, right?
Always chasing moderation. Huh?
Always,
Yeah,
yes, trying to find it. But,
trying to just find the zone.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so that divorce really ended me up going to my dad. And my dad was in recovery, and I said, I need to go to a meeting. And
Yeah.
he took me to a meeting.
Okay.
It was September 1st of 98.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I ended up going out. It was a one-night wonder. On 11/7, I got into some pain, and I went out and found Misty Fallis, and went out and found her, and I was like, drinking's not illegal. I just need to drink.
Right.
I thought it was all the illegal things I was doing.
Sure.
So we drank, and then the same thing happened that I said would happen. In that 8-hour period of me being out, I drank, I scored coke, I scored marijuana, and
Right.
and then it's
trifecta.
7 o'clock in the morning, and I called my sponsor, and I was like, "Can I just come back into recovery today?" She goes, "Yeah."
Yeah.
I was like, "Really?" She goes, "Meet me at." I went and met her on Cindy's Deli,
Okay.
and her and
I
her.
still haven't
nice.
eaten there, dude.
At
What?
I still haven't eaten
The
there.
one
I've been
I
eating there
looked at it
forever.
my entire life
Royal
next to
Lane?
the casket store.
Royal
No,
Lane?
on 75.
Oh, 75.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, right next
on
to the
Royal
casket
Lane.
Yes, yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes. By this casket,
Yeah.
casket plate. Yeah,
Right.
exactly where you need to be when you're hitting
Right.
bottom. So, 11/8/98 is my sobriety date.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, how did that work? I mean, because you were, obviously, into it pretty thick. So how did just going to AA and working the
You know
program?
what's
or-
crazy is that, I mean, I couldn't afford rehab, and I was a hairdresser. I didn't have benefits. I didn't
Right.
even know what benefits were. I grew
Right.
up in Texas.
Sure.
And I had no idea that, somebody would send me to rehab. Plus, there was maybe 2 rehabs in 98.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I think there was something up in Glen Lake or something up in Denton and something down here in Dallas, like 2 of them.
Right.
That was it.
Yeah.
And so I just did what my dad did. I went straight to the program and just shook it out in there. And that's, honestly, on September 1st was my first meeting, and September 3rd I smoked pot. And I didn't think that was anybody's business because I didn't see pot on the walls anywhere.
Right. This is Alcoholics
Right,
Anonymous.
exactly.
Not Pot Anonymous. Right. Yeah.
Exactly. So I didn't tell anybody. So when I got into that pain on 11/7, my alcoholic brain was like, your sobriety date's a lie anyways.
Yeah.
So I went out to drink to change my date, but I didn't know I would come right back in. So I did. I went and got Desire Chip, came right back in, and made that my sobriety date, and haven't had a drink or a drug since.
Right. That's pretty
insane.
amazing.
Thank you.
So, I mean, did you do did you do the whole sponsor and then work the steps? And
I
then
did.
That's really.
I was so scared not to do that.
Okay.
I was so flipped out that I was so delusional. First of all, I thought that I got sober, in a place that was off of Mockingbird Lane, and it was very visual. You could see from your car who was going in there. So I was flipped
Right.
out that my coke dealer was going to be like, "Oh, she's going to go rat me out. I'm going to kill her." Like that's how delusional.
Why? Because you were going to an AA meeting?
Yeah.
Nice.
But that's how delusional I was.
Right.
The false life seemed real, and the real life seemed false. Like I was so out of it. So confused and so deranged from years of exposure from alcohol and drugs.
Sure.
Yeah, nothing seemed right,
Right.
And that life seemed normal.
Yeah.
That's what I surrounded myself
What did
with.
you ever get like a DUI or anything like
No.
that? Yeah. Wow.
I should have.
Okay, yeah.
I drove home one-eyed down when Central Expressway used to be like
like
this.
when it was 2 lanes both ways.
Yes. And you know
Right.
what? I think I would pass out girl, which is what led me to the addiction of cocaine.
okay.
Because I hated you blackout guys
Sure.
that could keep going with your eyes on.
Right.
Eyes
Yeah.
open, no one home,
Right.
like, are you even in there anymore? Are you going to get me home?
Right.
But coke is what led me to stay upright.
Of course. Yeah.
And hopefully get that focus to drive
That
down
was
that
was
highway.
the drinker's companion. Yeah.
You know?
Exactly.
Yeah, and ironically, it's one of the most dangerous combinations because
You're-
it combines into a completely different chemical when it metabolizes into cocaethylene.
Right.
Which
it
is
is
a
a-
magic chemical.
Well, I mean,
Right.
don't
That's-
do it.
No.
Whatever. You know what I mean?
Well, but then there's also the worst one that I was doing personally was a little combo platter with the benzodiazepine.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty.
Because of anxiety attacks would still be happening because I would be coming down off the alcohol.
Yeah.
So that was
Yeah, you would just be one opiate away at that point from
That's right.
from the lethal
Oh yeah,
cocktail.
for
dude.
sure.
Yeah.
I did almost pulled a Bon Scott dude from ACDC. He aspirated, so I definitely dodged that bullet, so to speak.
Yeah.
And, when River Phoenix died, I
Yeah.
was like, he was just partying.
Yeah.
He didn't mean to die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He just told his heart to go in 2 different directions.
Right.
How many
Yep.
nights did I tell my heart to go in 2 different directions?
Right.
I mean, was my favorite feeling. You know,
Right.
let's like confuse the heck out of your mind and your heart. And, you know, and I didn't think everybody's like, oh, he committed suicide. No, he didn't.
No,
we didn't.
No,
He
he was
or
just
he
partying.
overdosed. Yeah,
But
he was just partying.
Well, I've seen like documentaries on him, and he actually, he was going hard.
Yeah.
he was he was all or nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And hanging out with Flea.
Yeah, well, and Flea was a party guy,
Right.
But all the kids, all the young Hollywood was,
Yeah.
you know, just like
Johnny
young,
Depp.
just like young Dallas was. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
you know, I get it.
I was just really grateful and lucky that I had the guy friends I had. Being around all those DJs back in the day, we all really cared about each other. We all like, I mean, I had really great guy friends in high school. And, you know, my mom would even be like, is Matt going to go? And Marshall and Jeff, are they all going to go? I'm like, yeah, everyone's going to the Starck Club.
Dude,
like,
nice.
you know, and they were like,
Yeah.
you make sure
you
when
used
you
to go to the Starck Club?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That was,
Kelly
Yeah,
took
we
me
all-
to that documentary.
Yeah.
We all used to go to Starck Club, but it was like the later,
later.
incarnation,
Oh, yeah.
which to
Go-go.
me, honestly,
Mike DePriest.
was the best because, I mean, you know, God bless Rick Scalante.
Yeah,
But
I
he was
remember
more
him.
of a blender, you know, more of a selection guy.
Oh.
But Mike was like the first guy that I was like, oh,
I know.
like that he
Could
could
mix a
beat-
sandwich.
He could like beat match,
Yeah.
and it would just like he'd be hanging mixes for like over a minute, and I was just,
Yeah.
oh my god,
I know.
dude, this is amazing, and it would be on key,
I know.
too, and it was just like, holy crap, because like I mean, the production of records back then was horrible,
Right.
You know,
Right.
like comparatively,
Right. Now you really
whereas
can
now
mix it
it's-
perfectly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you're also speeding stuff up and slowing it down.
Right.
There was no master tempo on
Well,
those
yeah.
decks back
Oh,
then.
yeah, no,
So if
you're right.
If you're blending a key,
Yeah, you're writing the pitch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was amazing.
Yeah, he
and
was.
fun
He
and
was.
funny.
Yeah.
God bless him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I enjoyed that whole time in my
Well,
life.
him and, you know, I used to hang out with Wayne.
Oh, Pate.
Wayne Pate.
Of course.
Yeah. And of
Wayne
course, I
Chung.
used to hang out with Matt and
Darrington.
Matt and Marshall. Yeah.
Yeah, Matt and Marshall. Those are my guys.
Yeah.
So that's what my mom would be like. Oh yeah, you can go if they're all going.
Oh man, I have a funny story about.
I bet you do.
I'll tell you.
Another
I'll tell
time?
you off air. Yeah, but it's hilarious.
No, my best friend's and Amy Roddy Neal. She was my best friend. Amanda Gross.
Yeah,
Like we
right.
just all there was about 7 of us. Stephanie Zelmer. We all hung out together like
Right.
24/7, and that was like that book and you know.
How did when you got sober? I mean, how did your life change? Like,
Oh, my
what
gosh.
did you start? Like, what did you start doing instead of chasing the high?
You know, it's funny. The group that I started going to, which isn't in existence anymore,
Yeah.
kind of is. They got a meeting on. I think it's on Friday nights, but it was Cornerstone, and it was
Okay.
above a liquor store. So I remember I was flying
Now
high.
that's funny.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I called AA because I used to get in these big fights with Jeff in the middle. You know, 7 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, I'm going to call AA. Like that was a threat. You know,
Yeah.
like I'm going to get sober and call AA because I didn't know what else to say. I was so
Can
messed
you
up.
call AA?
I did
you
call
used to be.
AA. Yeah.
Some groups still have numbers.
I
yeah.
called Intergroup and I said I live at Mockingbird and Inwood and I wanted to know the closest group to me, and they said, well, there's one at Mockingbird and Skillman, and I
Right.
was like, what the heck is at Mockingbird and Skillman? He goes, it's above the cork and bottle. And I said,
you go,
did you just tell me to go
bingo.
to a meeting above the cork and bottle above the liquor store, sir? And he goes, yes, I did. And I slammed the phone down and went and rolled another joint. And so stayed out another probably 3 or 4 months after that.
Yeah.
And then whenever I went to my dad's meeting with him, this lady walked up to me and she goes, after the meeting, I was running away from all the women because they run up after you,
Yep.
get your number and
Oh,
like
yeah.
talking to you, and you're like, whoa.
They actually want to help you.
It's a little too
Right.
close for me.
Yeah, sure.
And even for me, and I'm very social.
Right.
So I was at the Coke machine, and this lady walked up to me and she goes, well, you're not going to make your daddy's group your group, are you? And I was like, well, I was. You
Yeah.
know, but I could read her social cues that wasn't the right thing to do.
Right.
So I was like, oh, no.
Right.
She goes, well, where you got to stay sober for 1 day. She goes, can you do that? Just 1 day. I
Yeah.
go, okay. And she goes, you got to go to a meeting tomorrow night. And she goes, where are you going to go? And I go, I'm going to go to that one above the liquor store. Because I thought that would be the most badass meeting you could go to.
Sure.
Right. And she goes, oh, that's the Cornerstone group. That's my group. I'll see you there tomorrow night at 7:30.
Oh, you're like, uh-oh.
And so I ended up there. And so it was a very young group and it was a very social group. I
Okay.
mean, I didn't eat dinner alone for the first 5 years I was in recovery.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
Yeah. Because every Friday night, we're all going to Jason's Deli, or we're all going to Cafe Express, or we're all going here, we're all going there.
Cafe Brazil.
Oh,
Right.
I can't tell you how many times I ate there.
Right.
And we drink coffee till like 2 a.m.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, and like it was just a very social group. And so
Sure.
I changed from the club to these people in recovery.
Yeah.
And I started running with them. And,
Well, it's funny because a lot of people say, "Oh, yeah, I'm going to be boring when I get
No.
in recovery, and like, or I'm going to lose my edge or
No.
something like that," which is completely not
opposite.
true. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? Honestly, I didn't realize how much of a sense of humor that I had. You know, like I'm gonna be like, my husband's like, you just want me to say you're funny. 'Cause it is one of my favorite things if you say I'm funny.
Right.
And I was so numbed out from all the drugs and the alcohol that like nothing was funny anymore. There wasn't a high and there wasn't a low. It was just like numb. And I just felt like the last conversation I had with myself in the mirror before I hit bottom was like I could see myself, but I couldn't feel myself. And I was like, I was looking right in my eyes, my dead eyes, and I was like, you're dead. You're not even in there anymore. You're completely dead.
Right.
And I couldn't feel it. I couldn't feel myself. And I was so flipped out. I was so, like, this is scary. I felt like I was a broken shell, Night of the Living Dead.
Yeah.
A zombie.
Right.
You know, we're so scared of the zombie apocalypse. I'm not that scared because I lived it.
Right.
You know,
I was one.
I remember
Right.
going into Club 1 and, stuff falling on the floor and me scraping it off the floor and putting it on my gums. Like, who knows what's on the floor in the freaking Club 1 bathroom?
Especially Club
like,
1. Yeah.
Like, I'm like, but that's how sick it got. That's how deranged my whole life was. So when I got into recovery, I'd never laughed so hard.
Yeah.
I've never
Yep.
cried so hard.
Right.
But it was so beautiful to be alive.
Well, yeah, and that's the whole thing is like we're, when you're doing substance and all that stuff, it's masking all this emotion, and it's okay to feel all this emotion because, hey, guess what? It's part of life.
The way you just said that. Say that again.
Feel. Feel. Oh, wow.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
But I mean, that's the thing is like, I used to drink because I had anxiety. So,
Sure.
but then the temporary solution became the problem. But, anybody's going to feel anxiety if you have to go up in front of, hundreds or thousands of people and mix records on beat and, try to sound like Go-Go Mike.
Right.
It's like, it's a tall order.
Yeah.
So, you need a little social courage or a little liquid courage.
Sure.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. I mean, same. I mean, it was just all about also at some point my best friend, she got pregnant and I got sober. So she changed her life without doing what I had to do, but
Right.
I just couldn't stop. I always believed my friends. I always would do last minute things. I always believed my friends. And my friend was like, you're going to get sober? And I was like, because I told her like in the 11th hour, I was like, yeah, I'm going to get sober. I'm going to go call my dad and get sober. And she's like, why?
Right.
Why? Like,
Right.
it's like,
What's wrong with
I was
you?
talking
You're giving
about
up the dream.
Yes. And I said, because every time I drink, I score cocaine. And she goes, I can get you off cocaine.
Right.
I go, I don't think so. I drive my car down a one-way street because I think it's quicker when I'm drunk and when I need coke. Like that's my thinking.
Right.
And like, that's not normal.
Right.
That's not normal. I mean, honestly, I've never met anybody with a normal cocaine habit. But,
Yeah, what is a normal cocaine habit?
I don't think there is one.
I
Yeah,
don't
right.
think there is one. So, but the fact that I would have believed her any other day, it was
Right.
just set up.
Yeah.
It was just set up.
Sure.
I mean, any other day I would have been like, you can get me off of cocaine. Okay, great.
Right.
Let's go. What's your plan? You know?
Right.
Yeah.
But that day I knew, like looking at that beer with Misty that day, I knew. I knew that like that was not going to work.
Right.
And I knew that it wasn't going to work. She couldn't get me off. I knew I needed a higher power.
Right.
I knew I needed.
Well, I
something
just think
bigger.
it's, like incredible that you actually did it, just with the program. I mean, millions of people do it. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But, with no rehab as hard as you were going, is pretty impressive.
That's what I said. Well, when I smoked that pot on the third day,
What
I was shaking so bad.
What step was most difficult for you?
Oh my gosh. All 12.
All of them?
Well, I mean, honestly, when I got into recovery, I saw step one, we admitted we were powerless over alcohol and our lives becoming manageable. I saw that and I knew that. I had lived that. You didn't have to convince me of that.
Right.
I did try switching everything. I did try I couldn't stop starting.
Right.
I quit a million times. I quit a million times. Never doing that again. Never doing that again. And then at noon, I would be like, "You're never drinking again?" Like I remember cutting hair and being like, "Okay, so I'm not going to drink anymore." Well, you might as well kill yourself. I'm like, exactly. I'm like, if I'm going to live without drugs and alcohol, I might as well kill myself.
Yeah.
And then at 3:00, my brain would go, "You're really going to kill yourself?" And then I would be like, "What? Yeah, that's dumb. What do you mean I'm going to kill myself because I'm not going to drink?" And I'm going to do, I'm like, you know what? We'll get a drink at 5:00.
Yeah.
We're drinking at 5.
Right.
And every day I would have that conversation over and over and over again, expecting a different result.
Right.
So when I showed up, step one was no problem for me because every day I quit and every day I restarted with alcohol. Yeah. And so that's where I was in that brain cycle. I couldn't stop starting.
Yeah.
And so that's the problem. And 2 through 12, that keeps you from starting.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Well, if you work it.
My mom raised me in a metaphysical, let's sit this way and hold this crystal and, meditate. I mean, I was meditating at 12 years old. I got all that.
Right.
And I called it a woo-woo God because I was running around with a woo-woo God doing a lot of drugs with that woo-woo God. So I started going to Christian church because I was like, I need some fundamentals. I was like, I need to know what's what because I partied so hard with that woo-woo God. I was like... So, I ended up accepting Christ in my life, like my first year in recovery and been a Christian ever since.
All right.
So, but that was my walk. And I'm not saying that's going to be everybody's walk.
Sure. No,
that's what I needed to do. I go to a church now that's all about disciples making disciples.
Right. And you're still actively involved in the AA or in the 12-step program.
Yeah, I know we talked about that earlier, that I wasn't going to say it, but whatever.
Yeah. It is what it is.
I'm a person. I might screw up.
Right.
It doesn't mean AA doesn't work.
Well, and I'm fascinated about what we're going to be talking about coming up because it has to do with stem cell. And it also has to do, it can be recovery adjacent. So I'm excited about that. But right now, let's throw to commercial. Your mom has a book out, and it is called 2 Calls.
Phone call as a parent that your son has been hit by a car and is being life flighted.
2 hours before we got the call, Chad had called me to tell me it was the best day of his life. And then I get another call, and a stranger had found him, and they were care flighting him to a trauma unit, and that he would start praying for our family that we needed to hurry.
When you wake up on the operating table and they're like, we're going to cut off both your legs. And then I wake up and then one's gone, the other one's in an external rod system. It's just not good. The real kicker is that I've had like all of these scars all over my arms, and that's all from complications resulting from drug abuse.
I never thought about giving up on him. Never. This is my son, and I know he's going to be okay. You cannot just have help for the addict. You have to seek out professional help. The whole family has been affected.
And I just want to make that very clear to anybody who's out there listening that if I can do this thing as much as I've been through, man, there's a lot of wiggle room for people before they get to that point where they can do it.
All right. And that book is called 2 Calls and by your mom, Sheila Williamson, a.k.a. Lil Sheila. Right?
Yeah.
And if they go to 2calls.org, they can buy the book. Also, you and your mama do speaking engagements, a.k.a. speaking stuff.
Yeah, we go speak to different groups and people about the family stuff that gets involved with
well, and that's the whole reason
addiction.
why your mom wrote the book.
And that's why she wrote it, is to gear it towards families and show them that there is resources that are available, because they are very rarely offered to the family.
Yeah, they're not really spoken about.
Yeah,
and
as much as they are the addict. Because I had all the help in the world offered to me. And then they were just like standing on the sideline like, wait, what the fuck do we do?
Right.
I don't know if they said it like that.
I could see your mom.
She probably did. She was
Jeff.
probably like, what the fuck do we do?
That's
right. Exactly what she said. Shout out Lil Sheila.
Love her.
Yeah, man.
And then also we have new music streaming on all major platforms. So. that hasn't happened before.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
All right. Well, anyway, but all that good stuff is streaming on all major platforms. There's actually a playlist if you're on Spotify called "This Is Kelly Reverb," and it's got all our stuff on it, and all the stuff's doing good, getting some worldwide radio spins. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, we've had from the year to date.
Yeah, over 1,000
from the beginning of the year. We didn't really start getting major radio play. So basically, let's say June, from June till now,
last 4 months or
over
so,
1,000 plays on FM radio.
So we're excited about that, and be sure and while you're there, be sure and follow the podcast as well.
Yeah, you know what's something that's interesting?
What's that, Chad?
Is that I was like looking at Spotify for like this is how to do a this is playlist or whatever.
Yeah,
and it won't populate because it's considered, since you're the first artist on our tracks, it's like This Is Kelly Reverb is both of our This Is playlists or whatever.
Well, you can write a playlist.
You can make one.
No, you can make a playlist.
Yeah, but the ones that auto populate, like This Is so and so. Those are different. They happen after you get.
I tell you what, I'll explain to you after.
Yeah, you better, dude.
But anyway, so like I know that after you got into recovery, but you said you kind of been brought up metaphysical, so to speak. So you've always kind of believed or gravitated towards alternative health methods, and you were telling me about this, and I find it amazing. But why don't we go into kind of your journey of Reiki, and then how you wound up in this, and what makes this product, Well, yeah, here.
Yeah, sure. So I got certified in Reiki 1 in 1998 when I very first got sober. Was doing some hair on a lady that was really ill, and she wasn't negative, like spouting it out with her words. I could feel it when I was, when you're working on somebody's hair, you're right in the energy field of like the energy coming in and out of the head.
Crown chakra.
Crown chakra, right, right. And so
He's more a fan of his own root chakra.
That's right.
Well, root chakra is very important because it means you still want to live on the earth. A lot of alcoholics and addicts
Perineum sunning.
have issues with root chakra.
Sunning, yes, yeah.
So root chakra is all about staying here.
Chad likes to stimulate his root chakra.
Oh my gosh, you guys. Whatever. You're so silly. Anyways, so I felt sick after working with this lady. Right. And so another hairdresser friend of mine that I respected, she said, come upstairs, I'll give you some Reiki to get you over that. She's like, I was like really feeling ill.
Yeah.
And she's like, you took on her stuff. And I was like, what woo-woo stuff is this? Kind of was into it too. So she gave me about 5 minutes of Reiki, and I got up feeling better.
Right.
And it ended up that her Reiki master was coming from Australia like in a couple of weeks, and she said, why don't you take Reiki 1 just to like benefits of you working around all these people.
Right.
And I ended up doing that and getting certified in Reiki 1 by her Reiki master. And then her husband was going for his master. So I took Reiki 1 a second time.
Right.
And during that time, so that was like so in 2008, so 10 years later, I went through Reiki 2 with a Reiki master on Nantucket. Mm-hmm. And the only reason why I did that was because I wanted to work with horses.
Okay.
And so humans have this thing called a brain, and they have this also thing where they're not convinced of stuff, and they're like worried, oh, is this going to work?
Right.
What are you doing to me?
Let me
tell you my story.
A lot of people just automatically go to the bullshit card.
My story. And so horses don't have that.
Right.
Horses go, thank you for that energy.
Right.
I'm so appreciative that you're here right now.
Right.
Like they don't have let me tell you about my mom. They don't have that.
Right.
And so when I realized that horses would accept Reiki, and dogs and cats are a little bit more like horses, but I said, you know what? I want to work with animals. So I would only work with humans if they had a horse connected to them.
Ah, okay.
So in 2008, that's where my horse work started. And I had a horse at the time. And so I worked with her and I loved it. Because there wasn't horses or...
And so basically Reiki is manipulating energy.
Yeah, coming through your hands. Everybody has it.
Yeah.
If you feel... So everybody has the realm... if you looked at somebody with night vision, we all have that light. It's infrared light coming off of us.
Right.
It feels like heat, but it's actually light. We're light beings. And so that brings me into why X39 was so beautiful to me
yeah.
because it was light therapy.
Okay.
It's a light therapy patch.
Right.
So rather than me having my hands on you all the time, you're going to wear that little patch.
Okay, well here, like show
Yeah.
you can go ahead and do
Yeah.
a product placement
Sure.
there.
So this is X39. It comes with a 30-day supply, and I had given you and Chad
Yeah.
one. And basically, it looks like a little
Band-Aid.
Band-Aid, yeah.
Yeah.
And I've had people be like, "What's that Band-Aid going to do for me?"
Right.
And once you stick this on your body, it's activated by the heat/light of your body.
Okay.
So when you're holding it in your hand like that, you're turning it on.
Oh, am I?
Yeah.
But am I going to spoil it? Am I going to
No,
ruin
it's
it?
got about an 18-hour life. You
Oh,
only
okay,
wear it
well,
for-
here, I need a-
No, you should put it on.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you show him putting it on?
But,
So
but you said to put it on.
you can put it on in the back. Like I have mine back
Right.
here, C6, C7, kind
Right.
of on that little hunchback.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
All right.
And take both sides. Yep, you did. You did it. Chad,
I know what's
you
up.
patch. So because if you go to thisisit.info.com, the first thing it says is have you been patched yet?
Right.
So it's going to be something you experience more so than something
Ow,
like
it's burning.
I
No,
can
I'm
tell
just
you, I can tell you what happened to me the
Okay.
first couple hours that I put that patch on my ankle because I had pain in my ankle for a year and a
Okay.
half. My pain went from a 10 to a 2.
Okay.
And I kept swirling my ankle to the right, to the left, to the right, to the left. I'm like, am I crazy? Even
Right.
I have that mind that I was talking about that I don't like, you
Yeah.
know?
Well, okay, so I have a question. So a lot of people will go, okay, this is mumbo jumbo. What is the science
Yeah.
behind it?
So
And-
you can go all the way down the rabbit hole with thisisitinfo.com. So THISITINFO.com.
Right.
And that will show you all the science. So he holds over 170 patents. So for a patent to get approved, it has to work. So what it turns on is the GHKCU, which is a copper peptide in everybody's body.
Okay.
And that is known to activate stem cells. So yeah. So that's like the science behind it. You can look all that up.
Give me that again. The G8. what?
GHKCU. It's called a copper peptide.
Okay.
And people are really into peptides now, but that's something coming from a source where man makes it. Everything this light therapy patch does is it puts your own body back into a reboot.
Right.
So it's your own body healing. As it doesn't matter if you think we came from science or if you think we came from God or Jesus, however you think we got here, they made us intelligent. It made us intelligent. Your body knows how to heal.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this little patch helps your body heal.
Okay. Well, and then so like, how does it work? Like, I mean, am I just going to be
So it's a
healed
little-
after
Love
one
it.
day? Yeah.
Well, it's this. What do you know about stem cells? When we're born, we have billions of them. By
Right.
30, we only have half.
Okay.
By 60, we have almost none.
Right.
And they're dormant.
Right.
So if you're 30 and you get into a car wreck and you put that patch on for 3 to 6 months and you get healed, do you have to wear it every day after that? It depends on if you want to keep moving forward with healing. Or
Right.
if you want to stay the same. Like at 60, you want those little guys activated every day.
Sure.
So you wear it every day.
and what exactly are the claims? Like, I mean, what will, like, as far as ailments or everything, like, what will it
So
affect?
we don't cure, treat, or diagnose anything because it's a
Okay.
natural product.
Sure.
So I mean, I had that aggravation going on in my ankle, and and we never know. Every body is different, right? So we never know. Like, do you have a liver issue?
Right.
It's going to
Yeah.
go fix your liver. Or if you have a brain issue, so it's known to balance the brain. All the studies and testimonies are done on like
Thank
a
God,
3D.
because Kelly needs that because he's just way too stupid.
What?
He needs to
can.
be balanced with being
It
smart.
can. So 6 weeks, you got to wear that patch
And-
every day for 6 weeks.
And I hear it will grow limbs back too, right?
Well,
That would be tight.
that would be amazing. If it does that, you got to call me.
Yeah.
Chad's going to be a starfish now.
Love it.
And
What is that?
the starfish actually grow their limbs back.
Yeah.
Speaking of stupid.
The inventor is David Schmidt. He's a genius. You
Okay.
can go. So on that website, you can go. I just sent it to you, Kelly, but you
Okay.
can go down the rabbit hole as far as like the testimonials, the science.
Mm-hmm.
It's all on there. David Schmidt interviews. So what happened was in the early 2000s, he made a patch for the Navy SEALs so that
Okay.
they wouldn't have to use amphetamines anymore. It was called Energy Enhancer Patch. And
Okay.
a series of events landed him in
Are those still available?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Now, X39 is our hero product, and it has a little bit of everything that he's ever made inside of that patch. So I always tell people start with that.
Okay.
And if you tell me in 3 months you still need more energy, like I don't.
Right.
Energy enhancer does burn more calories. So
Right.
if I lost 50 pounds in the last 2 years. I don't know if you noticed that, but last time you saw me, I was like 190 pounds.
Oh, wow.
And I'm about 138 now.
Nice.
Yeah. Thank you.
Congrats.
Yeah. So I always say when you feel better, you do better.
Yeah.
So this
Of course, yeah.
Yeah. I bought the patch because my mom had cancer. She is also passed. She passed like 10 days after I bought the patch. So I never
Right.
put one patch on her. That's why I ended up with patches because
Right.
she was in a lot of pain.
Right.
So
You were looking, I mean, and how did you hear about it?
So my in-laws,
Yeah.
Aaron's parents, David
Okay.
and Carmen Abdo.
Okay.
They sent me a bunch of text messages, and I was actually in Massachusetts at a wedding, and I was like, "What bull is what
what kind of
BS?
bullshit
What
is
kind of
this?"
baloney
Right,
are they sending me now?"
Right.
And then when I talked to them on the phone, that I told them they knew about my mom and what was going on, and they said, "You know what? This patch is known to help people with aggravation,
Chronic illness and
chronic pain.
Yeah.
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 And so they were like, we don't know, but and so at midnight I bought some
Yeah.
and I saw that wholesale was cheaper than retail. So I signed up for a wholesale package, and my father-in-law called me the next day and he's like, "You're on the wrong team." I was like, "Well, then I know how these things work. Change me." Cause it's a
Right.
direct sales company.
Yeah.
So he changed me and put me on the big team. And yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So in Florida, I
gotcha.
have 60,000 people on my team.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of like a Herbalife setup.
Yeah, exactly, like Herbalife. I love it.
A little bit of a pyramid
Yeah,
kind
yeah.
of going on.
In the best way
Got a
ever.
triangle shape to it.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. So but I mean, as long as you believe in the product, I mean,
Yeah.
that's really
It's
what
the patents
matters.
and the studies, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, I'm interested to see, dive in, some, figure out a little bit of the science behind what's going on because
Yeah.
obviously,
You should
I'm
do your
skeptical.
due diligence. You should be.
I am human and I am skeptical.
I always laugh because my husband's very skeptical, but
Right.
every morning he's like, "Hey, we put one of those patches on me." I'm
Right.
like, one of those snake oil patches.
Yeah.
Sure. Right away, honey.
Yeah,
No.
right.
I mean, sometimes I get it. Like there's certain big things that we want healed, right? And they're
Sure.
not. And we don't know when or how your body, how messed up was your liver?
Mm-hmm.
How messed up is your heart? I mean, I can tell you, he does not tell me to call the paramedics in the middle of the night anymore. He had that kind of anxiety. He doesn't.
Oh.
He doesn't have that anymore.
That's always fun. Waking
Does
up
he have-
having anxiety attacks. I love that.
horrible.
Yeah.
Right. And that's gone for
Yeah.
him.
Wow.
Does he have regular life anxiety still? Yeah.
Yeah.
If the bills aren't paid, you're like a little nervous.
Sure.
That's normal, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we're doing way better now. So that's good.
Well, that's it. So
Yeah.
if people want to, I'm sure you have I
have a link.
You have a link for
Yeah.
yourself, right?
Texting me is probably the best thing to do because my link is it's a little bit confusing, and I don't
Okay.
want people to do the wrong thing and go down a rabbit hole.
All right,
with
we'll
13
give out what information you would like to.
Text me on my cell phone, 214-982-1507.
Hold on. I'm
Keep it
adding
again.
214
214-982-1507.
1507.
And just send you a text and
Yeah.
just say, I
I'm
want to know
interested.
about the
Yeah.
X39.
Yeah, and I'll get them the website. They can look at the product, or I'll help them order over the phone.
2 live edits on name tags
Dude,
Nice.
in
are
one
you-
episode.
Chad,
dude.
this is the first time he's
What,
done
dude?
it, dude. He's excited.
The other thing I was going to mention is currently I'm involved with helping people grow their hair back, which is another
yeah.
form of stem cell therapy. And if you come into that, it's
And
age.
she looked right at you,
I know.
Chad.
I don't know, dude. I look
I don't
dope
know.
as fuck bald.
Yeah, you got a good head.
I
Actually.
Come on.
You got a good head.
You do look good.
And you,
Got a lot of good head in my
yeah, and you give good head, brother.
Oh my gosh. No. Anyways, I was just going to say agereversingdfw.com.
Right. Okay.
Age. You're going to do another
is that
edit?
your website?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
Hold
where
on a
you can
second,
book
right?
a free consultation with me to talk to you about your hair, your skin, stem cell therapy, activation patches, whatever
And
you need.
it's agereversing.com.
DFW.com.
Okay.
Age reversing
Right.
DFW.com.
I
Hold
got
on,
it.
man. We got
Cool. Are you
Yeah,
going to
we
do
got, man.
another?
We got a
live-
third edit.
third
dude.
edit.
A third live edit, dude.
That's awesome.
Well, so, I mean, and how is your clientele currently? I mean, are you doing okay? Is
Yeah.
yeah, I mean,
It's amazing.
Do you have, okay, so as far as what you can share,
Mm-hmm.
do you have any success stories, regarding any of the alternate cures or alternate methods
Yeah,
that you
and-
offer?
Yeah, of course. I
Let's
mean,
hear it.
a good friend of mine had a nonverbal autistic child
Uh-huh.
and was on a feeding tube and is now eating regular food and starting to talk.
Why? Because of the
X39.
patches.
Yes.
Huh?
Now we don't cure, treat, or diagnose, but
Sure.
that was their story. That's what happened to them. They were flying all over the world to get injections of stem cells and going broke doing it, and spending like thousands upon. It's like $20,000 to $50,000.
Yeah,
those,
stem cell.
we don't do them
stem
here.
cell is not cheap.
No, it's
Yeah.
not. No, and the one to grow back the hair that I can do if that's what you want to do. It's exosomes, so it's a derivative of the mesenchymal stem cell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What does that run you?
So it's anywhere from, it depends on how thinning or how bald,
Right. Sure.
how your situation is. So what
Right.
we do is a free consultation, and that will actually, look underneath a magnifier to make sure you still have a live
Make
active,
sure those little
a live active hair
the
follicle.
enemy hasn't
Yes.
advanced too far.
Yes.
Well, if there's not a follicle, then you can't.
If there's not a follicle, I put you on X39 first.
Right.
Because there could be, and then I review you again in
Right.
3 months.
Sure.
Because maybe you healed. Maybe there's follicles that'll come back at that point. I don't let anybody spend money that's not going to work.
Right.
So exosome injections it's a 4 months. One month. 4 times 1 month apart each. So
Okay.
it's 4 different times you're getting injections. So it's good. It's around like $4,500 to do that.
Ouch.
Yeah.
What
But
about like sponsoring a bald guy that does a podcast and then it'd be free advertising?
there you go. Come on in. I mean, that's why we do a free consultation.
Right.
Because I'm not going to have anybody spend their money on something
Sure.
that might not work.
Right.
I do still have a bunch of hair. It's
Yeah.
just like I kept seeing fucking angles from when
Oh,
we had
yeah.
the sky cam.
Sure.
Yeah.
And like, I had my little fucking, it was spiked up.
You
right
know, you had
here.
a tuft of hair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
That's what
I
I
saw
would
the
think
angles from the sky. I was like, dude, I am no longer fooling. And I haven't been fooling anybody for quite some time.
Well,
I'm just going to beat this thing at the source. And then I
Yeah.
started doing this. And I was
Yeah.
like, man, that's pretty dope.
Right.
Yeah. No,
Exactly.
it works.
But yeah, my hair was down to here when I fucking went to jail.
Yeah.
Finally, the one time I grew it out my whole life.
but you still had that was like that, what was it, Alabama mudslide, dude, or Kentucky waterfall,
Ooh.
dude. No, because it was like thinning up here
Yeah.
and then long and stringy back here, dude.
Well, yeah, dude. I mean, I was going the.
You look
and
like
when
you
you're
had just
homeless, you go on the.
You look like you'd showered in motor oil.
Oh my gosh.
You're trying to regrow all of your natural oils.
Right.
That's what people do when they're homeless.
Right.
It's called not showering or using
boy.
any shampoo. But yeah, you get some of those oils back for sure.
Right. Well, cool. So but I mean, I guess we touched on it. I mean,
Yeah.
anything else you would like to add, like as far as
Grateful
know?
to be here. Honestly, one of my biggest missions, because I am so into like an alternative, health, aspect. People are tired of taking drugs and doing surgeries.
sure.
And so,
I definitely think there's a lot of technology out there
And that's what this
that
is.
is being suppressed.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why, but what I love about my company is it's a 20-year-old company. So they're not going anywhere. This guy's really smart.
Right.
I've
and this
got-
guy's really rich.
Yeah. Well, I mean, come on.
Right, yeah.
I mean, he's put a lot of
sure.
money and time into this, and
Right.
and I'm grateful for that. And I always love working with people. I've worked with a lot of women who needed help, like outside help, and we didn't realize like how much, the brain is affected by the stuff we did,
Yeah.
especially later in life. You're like, wow. I didn't
Right.
realize it was going to show up in my 50s, what I did in my 20s.
Give us the the what's his name? Owen Wilson.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
There we go. Wow.
Oh,
That
my
was
God.
that's a dramatic pause I learned.
I was like,
growing up from my mother watching all my children my whole
Yeah.
life.
yeah.
So
Oh.
yeah.
I think it's really, really cool what your mom is doing in the book, because I'm a member of Al-Anon, and read all the Codependency No More
Yeah.
books and all that, and it is a family sickness, but it's also family health. I mean, you can
Yeah.
get better as a family.
Oh, yeah.
It's definitely, they talk about it being a family disease, but not a lot of people talk about it being family recovery. And
Well,
what?
I mean, because a lot of people want to place the blame, and just go, oh,
Yeah.
it's their problem.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That's it.
I didn't do anything to
Right.
do
Yeah.
this, honey.
Why should I?
Right.
And that's the thing. Like they don't really touch on that. Like when I was in the hospital for, I couldn't tell you how many times I've been admitted for long-term stays for infections, just whatever. But I've spent over a year and a half inpatient in Parkland. And all those times they're like, hey, you need to go to AA. Hey, you need to do this. Hey, this guy wants to talk to you, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay. Never did any of it. But, she ended up finding FA, which is Families Anonymous.
That's great.
She found a group and then started doing that stuff. And, but I can't recall any time where she was like in the hospital with me and they're like, hey, you should really go to so-and-so and so-and-so. And Al-Anon and FA are both completely free programs.
Right.
For families to learn how to deal with the addict who's still suffering.
Yeah.
Addict or alcoholic.
I have a question.
Whatever.
So why did you go to Al-Anon?
Oh my gosh, I was raised in an alcoholic home.
Yeah.
I mean, that was really the beginning of why I used, was like, I was addicted to all my little friends.
Sure.
And I was addicted to my relationships. And like, I did some of the craziest stuff when I was younger without alcohol being involved. And that was my codependency issues.
Right.
And, when you're raised, my dad, thank God, he was not a violent drunk, but he was a happy-go-lucky, spend all the money, like unsure of what's going to happen next drunk.
Right.
And so when you're a little kid surrounded by that, you're just primed for like your relationships as you grow up. And so I poured alcohol on all that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, really, Al-Anon could have been my first, people being my first DOC, because I was so addicted to people pleasing and making people like me. And I drank over that.
Yeah.
So that was the beginning. I used to say cupcakes and my little best friends when I was in first grade.
Right.
Because sugar, not that I'm off sugar, because I don't believe in any one way. I think, honestly, I think that when you put me in a corner with food, it makes me really want cocaine.
Yeah.
So I'm like, moderation, and I'm not on a, no, never of anything, one thing. I do eat a lot of protein. When you lose weight, you need a lot of protein. But, honestly, if I want a cupcake, I have a cupcake.
Yeah.
To this day. But that's what I started off with. My mom would hand me cupcakes and say, hide these under your bed. Your brother don't eat them.
Oh,
I mean,
nice.
that was love. Love was food.
Sure.
Love was food.
Yeah.
And then my little best friends coming over and spending time. That's what it started. And then I was so addicted to like riding horses, and like I was addicted to the roller skating rink. That was my first club.
Hell yeah.
And then we went to Oz.
Hell yeah.
Teen club.
Nice.
The Doyles owned it.
I was Oz. That's funny.
Remember?
Yeah. Well, I dated Shanna Doyle. Actually.
Right. So Bron Doyle was
Bron.
in my grade.
And then, but
he was great.
But he has a place down in Port Arthur now.
Yes.
Shout out, Bron.
Shout out.
But
Hello.
but what was the? I'm trying to think. The Monopolies. Did
Monopolies.
You ever
Oh, I loved Monopolies.
Was the jam? Yeah, off of Northwest Highway.
Yes, that's where I meet up with. I met Mandan
Shout out
Maloney.
Northwest Highway.
Yeah,
I know.
Yeah, right.
They just still a club. It's called West something.
Well,
right?
it's a club
Tejano
that
club?
is. I think it does events like more hip hop kind of style stuff.
Cool.
But yeah.
Yeah. I mean, does it still look the same? Does it still have the board on the
It
inside?
still looks like a piece of shit.
Yeah.
It still looks like an
Oh my
abandoned building.
gosh, that
But
was
it's been a while since I've been over there. But
And Ice Ice Baby used to roll up in his 5.0.
Dude, Vanilla Ice. I saw him there
Yeah.
before he was anything.
I know.
But I remember seeing him there and being blown away.
Yeah,
because
for
I was
sure.
like, "Oh, who is this jackass?"
Right,
And then,
right.
and then after he performed, I was like, "That fucking guy's got skills."
Right,
dude. I'm
right.
like,
I know.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's funny.
Man, from
Memory
asshole
lane.
to skill set in
Yeah.
one show.
Well, dude, he gained. He legitimately gained my respect
There was a Arby's
that night.
For the Arby's in that parking lot, and I remember.
I pass by it all the time.
Oh, I do too.
I live in Lake
over
Highlands.
there. Yeah, I live on the other side of the lake from you.
Well, here, why don't
Yeah.
you give them
Yeah.
your address?
Yeah.
No, I'm
No.
just kidding. But yeah, that's
Awesome,
funny.
y'all.
Yeah,
I mean,
good times.
I'm grateful.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm grateful I lived through it. I'm grateful I'm here to help anybody go through it, get sober, whatever they need. You don't know until somebody shows you the path, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I might have to buy a round of these patches and see how it does.
should.
I should.
Mm-hmm. I recommend it for anybody trying to, uplift
Right.
their life. You can't have your own stem cells going back to work for you. That's what
Sure.
you want.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
Yep.
interesting. I am going to definitely dive into it.
Awesome.
Do a little more research. But I do appreciate you coming out.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and then we'll don't be such a stranger.
I know.
You know?
Okay.
Yeah, I gave her a hard time. She goes, "Are you still doing that podcast?" And I
Yeah.
was like, "Oh, thanks for watching."
Yeah. And I go, you're
cool.
welcome.
Yeah, yeah. There, it's only on Instagram and
All the time.
every platform.
Well,
and
in my defense, so in December of
the internet quit working.
No, seriously. December of 2022, I lost my whole bots run Facebook. So
Yeah.
I did something that pissed them off, and I lost everything and everybody.
Gotcha.
So I had to one by one, and then they thought it was, some sort of me being a bot because I'm adding people that have been on my Facebook page for 10,
Right.
20 years
Sure.
or whatever it is, and they're like, "Is this really Amy?" I'm like, "Yes." And so I was like,
Zuckerberg.
I seriously lost my account
Right.
in December. It came up. It said,
All
no more. You're gone. And I was like, what do you mean? What did I do wrong? And then it was this whole explanation of like 3 pages, and I couldn't find anything that I did wrong.
All right. Oh, dude,
crazy.
I do. It is so much fun trying to do help for or support for
no.
Facebook or Instagram. It's good times.
There's no humans.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
it's not run by humans.
Exactly.
No.
Well, but anyway, but thank you for
Yes.
coming on. They
Thank
can
you for
reach
having
out
me.
to you
Yep.
at what's the website again?
Age reversing dfw.com.
Okay, cool.
And also her
So
phone number
check
is on
that
the
out
screen
and
in
the
this
phone number.
triple edited thing, dude.
Yeah,
Yes.
holla. So, Chad, as always, pleasure to have you on and to hear you bitch about everyday life.
Yep,
And
Kelly,
stuff like
as
that.
always,
I
fuck
hate
you.
you. Yeah, right. Hey, I'm excited. Next week, we've got our boy Tony D, but
Yeah, and he brought his
his
check stop.
homie. Oh, did he? Cool.
Yeah.
His homie Ryan, and he's going to be on to share a story. So I'm excited about that.
That's tight.
That's tight, fool.
Yeah, and then you should change your tagline for the end of the show now and be like, sobriety is good because you get to feel.
Yeah, feel. I'm just gonna take that and just sample myself. Anyway, remember, subscribe, like, comment, all that stuff, and remember, there is no magic pill for sobriety, because if there was, we would all take too many.